In the vast ocean of television spin-offs, the NCIS franchise has always found ways to stay afloat, often triumphantly so. From the original show's military crime fusion to the globe-trotting drama of NCIS Los Angeles and the exotic flair of NCIS Hawaii, CBS has long mastered the formula. But with the announcement and early production leaks surrounding NCIS Origins, there's a growing sense that this latest prequel is already charting a course toward its own creative demise, before it's even truly set sail. At first glance, NCIS Origins should be a slam dunk. A show that dives into the early career of fan favorite Leroy Jethro Gibbs, played in the original by Mark Harmon, seems like the ultimate crowd pleaser. It promises to peel back the layers on a character who has remained stoic, mysterious, and quietly heroic for over 2 decades. For longtime fans, the idea of exploring what made Gibbs into the rule-quoting, coffee-swilling legend he became is inherently intriguing. Yet, the prequel appears dangerously close to mishandling its golden opportunity, sabotaging its own narrative integrity before a single episode airs. 1. The danger of retconning a legacy. Let's address the elephant in the room: retcons. Prequels always flirt with disaster when they start tampering with established canon. NCIS Origins risks rewriting too much in its attempt to craft a dramatic past for Gibbs. The original series offered breadcrumbs about Gibbs's early years: a decorated Marine sniper, a tragic personal history, and a slow-burning career in law enforcement. There was mystery, yes, but also enough clarity that viewers formed their own emotional connections to his backstory. Now, early reports suggest Origins might play fast and loose with this timeline. Rumors of a new mentor figure who wasn't Mike Franks, or a sudden introduction of key figures that were never mentioned in the parent series, hint at the creeping specter of retconning for drama's sake. By changing core elements of Gibbs's past to suit a modern story structure, the series runs the risk of hollowing out the very mystique that made him compelling. 2. A misunderstood protagonist. In a new era, casting a young Gibbs was always going to be a challenge. Mark Harmon's son, Sean Harmon, previously portrayed young Gibbs in flashbacks, bringing a stoic believability to the role. But Origins appears to be going in a different direction, prioritizing a fresh face rather than familial continuity. While this isn't inherently bad, the tonal shift in how young Gibbs is being written could alienate fans. The prequel seems to lean into modern archetypes, edgy, sarcastic, and emotionally volatile characters, as though it's trying to appeal to Gen Z sensibilities more than honoring its origins. But Gibbs was always defined by restraint, discipline, and a painful emotional reserve born from loss. If Origins tries to turn him into just another impulsive rebel with a badge, it misunderstands what makes him tick. It risks turning Gibbs into a generic, TV tough guy, instead of the emotionally complex enigma fans love. 3. Sacrificing substance for style. In an effort to modernize the NCIS formula, Origins seems poised to adopt a flashy, hyper-stylized aesthetic. Early set photos and production notes suggest a visual overhaul, grittier lighting, handheld camera work, even a possible serialized format. While evolution is important, this swing might be too dramatic. The original NCIS succeeded not because it was flashy, but because it was grounded. It was a show about process, teamwork, and loyalty, not just gunfights and car chases. By turning Origins into an action thriller with procedural elements, it risks losing the soul of the franchise. In the effort to chase trends, Origins may end up feeling more like a derivative of True Detective than a genuine extension of NCIS. 4. Nostalgia as a crutch. There's a fine line between fan service and narrative dependency. NCIS Origins appears ready to lean heavily into the former, flooding early episodes with callbacks, younger versions of familiar characters, and constant references to future events. While occasional nods to longtime fans are welcome, too much reliance on nostalgia can render the show inert for new viewers and stale for old ones. Worse, when a show builds its emotional beats entirely on moments that only resonate if you've seen 15 seasons of another series, it becomes less a prequel and more a quiz show for superfans. Instead of carving out a unique identity, Origins risks becoming a slave to its own mythology. 5. The burden of being important. A subtle but powerful issue looms large: the need to be important. Every decision in Origins seems built around the idea that it must matter, that every interaction will echo into the future, that every side character might become pivotal, and that every case must somehow foreshadow something we already know. But life, and good drama, is not built entirely of milestones. One of the beautiful things about the original NCIS was its episodic nature. Yes, there were major arcs, but there was also room for quieter stories. If Origins can't let its characters breathe, can't allow itself to just be good television without constantly chasing greatness, it will suffocate under the weight of its own self-importance. 6. Mark Harmon's ghost. Finally, there's the Mark Harmon-shaped shadow hanging over everything. Though he is attached as an executive producer and reportedly will narrate parts of the series, his actual presence, or lack thereof, presents a narrative dissonance. Viewers associate the voice, mannerisms, and moral compass of Gibbs with Harmon. Introducing a new actor while still invoking Harmon's voice may create a tonal tug-of-war. Instead of empowering the new Gibbs to stand on his own, this choice may just reinforce comparisons that the new actor can't possibly win. The audience will be stuck watching a character who looks, acts, and sounds different, yet is supposed to be the same person. The immersion breaks before it begins. Conclusion. A premature identity crisis. NCIS. Origins hasn't failed yet, but the cracks in its armor are already showing. In its rush to capitalize on legacy, modernize its style, and deepen its mythos, it may forget the very qualities that made NCIS a juggernaut in the first place. Character depth, subtle emotional arcs, quiet moments of camaraderie, and respect for its own internal logic. If the writers can recalibrate, respect their source material, and give young Gibbs the space to evolve naturally, without retrofitting his story into a checklist of future callbacks, then Origins could still surprise us. But if it continues down this self-sabotaging path, it will be just another prequel that answered questions no one asked, tampered with stories best left alone, and in doing so, lost sight of its potential before it had a chance to truly shine. Let me know if you want a shorter version, or one tailored to a specific platform like Reddit or a blog.